Hello there, it's midnight. I'm Anita Wu and you're watching Nightline. Our top stories. Proposed drink driving legislation to be tabled at next Parliament sitting. And US President Donald Trump threatens to unleash gunfire on Minnesota protesters. Our headlining story. The government views seriously cases of fatal road accidents involving drunk drivers and will take immediate steps to ensure the proposed amendments to the Road Transport Act, or Act 333, can be tabled at the next Parliament sitting. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Taqiyuddin Hassan, said under the proposed amendments, non-Muslims will not be denied their right to consume alcohol, but they must adhere to the law that they should not drink and drive. In a statement on Friday, Datuk Taqiyuddin said the proposed amendments would not only involve provisions relating to drink driving that causes injury or death in Section 44, but also driving under the influence of alcohol under Section 45 of the law. Datuk Taqiyuddin said the proposed higher fine and longer imprisonment would enable the Attorney General's Chambers, AGC, to prosecute offenders at the Sessions Court. For deterrent measures, he said the government would discuss with the AGC for death in road crashes caused by drunk drivers to be investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder or Section 307 of the same law for attempted murder. Recently, Transport Minister Datuk Sri Wee Ka Siong also launched an online survey seeking public opinions on penalties against those driving under the influence of alcohol. He added the ministry wanted to know the public's views on the alcohol content limit that should be allowed, as well as punishment under the law. Meanwhile, police will intensify efforts to curb and crack down on motorists driving under influence under alcohol. This came after a pillion rider was killed after the motorcycle he was riding in was rammed by a car driven by a man under the influence of alcohol on the federal highway near Petaling Jaya early on Friday. In the 6 a.m. incident, the 42-year-old courier company employee died on the spot, while his 30-year-old friend, the motorcycle rider, was seriously injured and rushed to University Malaya Medical Centre for treatment. Petaling Jaya Police Chief ACP Nik Izani Muhammad Faisal said preliminary investigations found the driver of the car lost control of his vehicle and slammed into the victim's machine, which was on the motorcycle lane.
I see there's a need for beefing up our team for these ops and tonight and for the next few days until I see fit, we'll be continuing this operation.
The car driver, a 22-year-old undergraduate at a local institute of higher learning, did not sustain any injuries. However, an alcohol content test on the individual revealed high alcohol levels in his body. The case is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. The Ministry of Education on Friday said they welcomed any opinions and suggestions on health and safety in schools during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the ministry stressed that any statement regarding definitive guidelines on post-CMCO procedures for school shall only come from MOE. It added the statement given by the third party on Buletin Utama's report on Friday night was not authorised by the ministry. In Kuala Kubu Baru, a trader who rammed his pickup truck into bystanders in Bukit Sentosa, Hulu Selangor 2 days before Aidilfitri was charged with attempted murder in the Sessions Court on Friday. The accused, believed to be drunk during the incident, who pleaded not guilty to the charge, also claimed trial to another count for disorderly conduct at a police station. 32-year-old Kang Ming Han was slapped with the charges before Judge Nurul Mardiah Muhammad Reza. He is alleged to have attempted to murder 3 passers-by, aged between 41 and 61, by ramming his Toyota Hilux into them and injuring them on May 22nd. The charge under the Penal Code provides for a jail term of up to 20 years and a fine if found guilty. He was also charged with disorderly conduct by uttering harsh words to a policeman on duty at the Bukit Sentosa police station on the same day. The offence under the Police Act carries a maximum of 500 ringgit fine or up to 6 months jail or both upon conviction. The court allowed bail of 20,000 ringgit in one surety for both charges and set July 1st for mention of the case. The government is ready to consider additional fiscal injections in the economic recovery plan that is expected to be announced next week. Finance Minister Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Aziz said several new initiatives and policies will be announced to help the people and support economic growth post-COVID-19.
It can be taxed in the form of tax, it can be in the form of fiscal, it can be in the form of incentive, it can be any form. Tapi yang pentingnya juga yang kita harus ingat ialah kerajaan mesti akan bekerjasama dengan pihak swasta kerana untuk membangunkan semula ekonomi kita perlu bekerjasama dengan swasta dan bersama swasta kita perlu menolong rakyat. So itu yang penting. We have to make sure execution is done properly.
He said this after visiting Bank Simpanan Nasional BSN headquarters on Friday. The government has previously invested 35 billion ringgit in the Prihatin package. Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul said 6 million people started working in the first week after the economy reopened on May 4th. The number increased to 10.2 million by May 18th, representing 67% of the total workforce. Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Bersatu Secretary General Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin on Friday stressed that former party chairman Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and 4 other members of parliament were not sacked by the party. Instead, the group had their membership automatically nullified for breaching the party constitution.
Keahlian mereka telah terhenti kerana melanggar perlembagaan parti. Ini adalah berlandaskan perlembagaan parti kerana kepentingan parti adalah lebih utama dari mana-mana individu dan tiada sesiapa yang mengatasi undang-undang apabila parti mempunyai perlembagaannya sendiri.
He added that membership of the 5 party leaders was automatically seized after they sat with the opposition bloc in Parliament on May 18th. According to the party constitution, one's membership will be automatically nullified if the person declares his exit from the party and for joining or becoming a member of another political party. Meanwhile, during a press conference at the Bersatu headquarters, Tun Dr. Mahathir said that his sacking and the expulsion of 4 other party leaders from Bersatu on Thursday were illegal. This as the post of organising secretary is not empowered to sack members under the party's constitution. The Langkawi Member of Parliament added that he has now reached a decision to sack the organising secretary, retired Captain Muhammad Suhaimi Yahya, from his post instead.
Setiausaha kerja ini sebenarnya tidak ada dalam perlembagaan parti. Dia saja panggil diri dia sebagai setiausaha kerja. Dan dia tak ada kuasa apapun. In the perlembagaan dia tak ada kuasa apapun. Dia take orders only. Carry out the work that he is directed to do.
On whether he considered that party president Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin should be sacked too for announcing the withdrawal of Bersatu from Pakatan Harapan, this was Tun Dr. Mahathir's response.
Yeah, we will have to sack him. But when we want to sack him, we'll have a proper sitting of the Majlis Kepimpinan Tertinggi.
On his position in the party, the 2-time former Prime Minister claimed that he is still the chairman of Bersatu. The 4 other party leaders who were sacked are Bersatu Deputy President Datuk Sri Mukris Mahathir, Simpang Renggam MP Dr. Mazli Malik, Kubang Pasu MP Datuk Amiruddin Hamzah and Bersatu Youth Chief Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin on Friday conveyed his Kaamatan Festival and Gawai Day greetings to the people of Sabah and Sarawak. He hoped that the festivals would serve as a catalyst to forge closer multiracial ties in the country and as a reflection of religious harmony in Malaysia. In a posting on his social media account, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the Keamatan Festival and the Gawai Day this year will certainly be celebrated in a different atmosphere as the country is still in battle against the COVID-19 pandemic. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said he was informed that some of the Keamatan Festival events could be held online, adding that the move was most welcome so that its traditions would continue to be celebrated under Malaysia's new normal. The Kadazan Dusun community in Sabah will celebrate the Keamatan Festival on Saturday, and 2 days later, the Dayak community in Sarawak will celebrate Gawai Day. A new COVID-19 cluster has been detected involving foreigners working for a cleaning company. 24 Bangladeshis have tested positive for the virus. 20 of them stayed in a hostel in Kuala Langat, Selangor, while 4 were staying in an apartment in Nilai, Negeri Sembilan.
Now our high index of suspicion now, from 4th of May until 29th of May, we have noted that almost about 78% of the positive cases that we have involve foreign workers. So we advise the employer to do the screening. It's good for them to do the screening. And
Dr. Noor Hisham said the cluster was detected after their employer sent them for screening at a private clinic. All of them were asymptomatic before they were screened. He added that the most likely cause of the spread of the virus among the foreign workers is the cramped quarters they are living in. 103 new cases were also reported on Friday. 7 of the new cases were imported, while the rest were local transmissions. 66 more patients, meanwhile, have been discharged. Potential job candidates and prospective university students have been told to do their interviews online. Senior Minister for Security Cluster, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, said this was to prevent interstate travel.
Jadi interview secara online. Mungkin ada persoalan, bagaimana pula kawasan yang tidak ada internet penetration di setengah-setengah kawasan luar bandar. Universiti telah pun membenarkan, iaitu gunakan handphone untuk membuat video dan submit kepada universiti mereka. Jadi zaman sekarang ni tak mesti interview secara bersemuka saja, tapi boleh digunakan secara maya dan sebagainya.
Meanwhile, the Higher Education Ministry has resumed its efforts to bring home any remaining university students after it was put on hold for Hari Raya Aidilfitri. A total of 1,193 students have been scheduled to be brought home to their hometowns on Friday. 3 flights from Kuala Lumpur to Kota Kinabalu have been scheduled to transport 287 students. Also scheduled was a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Cebu to bring home 166 students, and another from Kuching to Kota Kinabalu to transport another 166 students. During his daily media briefing, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also said that all foreigners who have been detained during the Movement Control Order, MCO, since March 18th were those without proper travel documents. If a foreigner had entered the country legally, they would have travel documents or an I-card to identify themselves.
Sepatutnya majikan tidak boleh memegang dokumen, ya, sepatutnya. Tetapi ramai yang majikan merasa tidak yakin kepada pekerja mereka, takut mereka lari dan sebagainya. Walau bagaimanapun, untuk menggantikan dokumen sebagai pengenalan diri jika mereka keluar, majikan mengeluarkan kad yang dipanggil I-card.
He explained that the I-card was an identification card for immigrants to show to the authorities, such as the Immigration Department and police, when questioned. Still to come on Nightline, authorities foil an attempt to smuggle ketum leaves in Perlis. The details when we return. Stay tuned. Still on Nightline, 1 in 5 adults, or about 3.9 million people aged 18 years and above in Malaysia, suffer from diabetes, according to the 2019 National Health and Morbidity Survey, NHMS 2019. Health Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Adam Baba, when presenting the findings at the Health Ministry in Putrajaya on Friday, said the diabetes prevalence in Malaysia has increased to 18.3% compared to only 13.4% recorded in 2015.
Salah satu dapatan NHMS 2019 yang merisaukan kita merupakan peningkatan diabetes di Malaysia. Seramai 49% dari pengidap diabetes di Malaysia tidak pernah diperiksa atau didiagnosa mengidap penyakit ini.
The survey also revealed that Negeri Sembilan, Perlis and Pahang recorded the highest number of diabetics. Datuk Seri Dr. Adam added that based on the survey, 1 in 4 adults aged 16 and above in Malaysia were not physically active and about 50% of adults were overweight. He said that 95% of adults in Malaysia also did not consume the recommended daily amount of vegetables and fruits. Slat Kelang Assemblyman Dato' Abdul Rashid Asari was issued with a 1,000 ringgit compound for violating the Conditional Movement Control Order CMCO during the first day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri. This followed an open house which he had organised at the State Executive Council official residence in Section 7 Shah Alam, which was attended by more than 20 guests. District Police Chief ACP Baharuddin Mat Taib confirmed the matter and that police will contact him to come forward to the Shah Alam Police Headquarters to hand over the compound. Based on his statement, Dato' Abdul Rashid, who is also Selangor Bersatu Chief, said he did not expect to receive more than 20 guests at the gathering. On Wednesday, a group photo of the Assemblyman with 21 others, believed to have been taken during the Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebration, was heavily criticised by netizens as it violated the SOP, which only allows up to 20 people at any festive event during the CMCO. The Malaysian Border Security Agency, AXIM, has successfully foiled an attempt to smuggle over 3.3 tonnes of ketum leaves from the country into Thailand. This after a team of enforcement personnel intercepted a convoy of 6 cars plying a rat lane across paddy fields in Sanglang, Perlis on Friday. In the 7:21 a.m. incident, the AXIM officers were following the convoy, but the suspects realised they were being tailed and sped away from the scene. A chase ensued, however, and authorities managed to surround the suspects' cars after a 1-kilometre pursuit from the Kedah-Perlis border. One of the suspects turned aggressive and used his car to ram into a vehicle used by the AXIM personnel, but fortunately, no one was injured. 2 local men aged 22 and 27 were arrested, while 4 others abandoned their cars and escaped on foot. The total seizure, including the cars, amounted to 465,000 ringgit. After this breather, Greece to allow entry to tourists from 29 countries. Stay tuned for the details. See you after the break. We're back with news on the foreign front. Protests in the wake of George Floyd's death continued for the 3rd consecutive day as protesters gained access to the Minneapolis Police Department's 3rd Precinct building, setting it on fire and forcing officers to evacuate. The demonstrations have also spread to other U.S. cities as people show their anger over the 46-year-old's death in police custody. It was reported that fires raged overnight in Minneapolis as crowds shattered windows and charged over a fence to get access to 3rd Police Precinct. As chaos unfolded, others were seen tossing fireworks towards the precinct, which is closest to where Floyd was captured on video with an officer kneeling on his neck Monday before he died. It was understood that the Minneapolis Police Department had earlier ordered its staff to evacuate from the precinct for safety reasons. Following the unrests, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey has declared a state of emergency on Thursday, which will remain in effect until Sunday night. More than 500 Minnesota National Guard personnel were also mobilized to several locations in the Minneapolis area, including banks, grocery stores and pharmacies, as demonstrations continued on Friday morning. Elsewhere in the U.S., dozens were arrested at a large demonstration in New York City, while at a protest which broke out in Denver, Colorado, shots were fired near the state capitol, though no injuries were reported. Meanwhile, Twitter on Friday flagged a post by US President Donald Trump on the unrest in Minneapolis as glorifying violence, saying the tweet violated its rules but would not be removed. It was understood that the president had appeared to urge the shooting of looters in Minnesota in his tweets. The company's move risked escalating tensions with the White House after Trump earlier this week signed an executive order that purported to address censorship by Twitter following its earlier decision to affix fact-check type labels to two of his misleading posts about mail-in voting ballots. In other news, Greece on Friday listed 29 countries from where it will accept visitors as of June 15th, as the Greek government looks to mitigate some of the financial damage from the coronavirus pandemic. The Greek Tourism Ministry said travellers from the permitted countries will be able to enter Greece on direct flights to Athens and to the northern city of Thessaloniki. The ministry added that the list will be expanded on July 1st to include other countries. The countries include Germany, Denmark, Switzerland, Japan, China, South Korea and Finland, among others. It also noted that visitors arriving from permitted countries could be subject to sample coronavirus testing. The country so far has a total of 175 deaths and just over 2,900 confirmed cases, with no cases having been detected on the vast majority of the Greek islands. Meanwhile, Singapore has confirmed 611 new cases of COVID-19 on Friday, bringing the total number of cases to 33,860. According to its health ministry, the vast majority of the new cases are work permit holders residing in foreign worker dormitories, with only 3 cases involving Singaporeans or permanent residents. Over in Indonesia, officials are forcing social distancing violators to stay in haunted houses and submit to public shaming on social media as the country battles to contain surging COVID-19 coronavirus infections. To date, the country has confirmed around more than 25,000 total cases and 1,520 deaths. It's time to take a quick look at the highlights in Malaysia's main newspapers lined up for Saturday, May 30th. New Straits Times highlights the Health Director General's appeal to employers to get their foreign workers tested for COVID-19. Berita Harian, meanwhile, focuses on the political conflict within the Bersatu Party, whereas a report on migration of foreigners into the suburban area, which could create the spread of COVID-19, gets the front page of Harian Metro. Do get your copies today or subscribe to the e-paper. Looks like that's it for Nightline this time around. In Japan, the Air Self-Defense Forces Blue Impulse team wows the public with jaw-dropping aerial acrobatics over downtown Tokyo as they express their gratitude to healthcare workers who have been battling the coronavirus pandemic. Let's have a look. I'm Anita Wu. Thank you for tuning in. Take care and good night.